Hello and welcome to the Halcyon Podcast. My name's Lorne Risey. I'm going to be the host for this episode, and welcome to another edition. Weekly edition from now on. However, I felt like doing a second one this week. Aren't you lucky people? Just to recap on the content that's going to be coming up very, very shortly. You've just had your Witcher 3 review. In terms of upcoming shows, they will be blinks, so bear with me. You've got reviews on A Quiet Place, Ali G in the House, Avengers Assemble, Being a Gamer, Being a Wrestling Fan, Being an Arsenal Fan, Defunct Gaming, Destiny the Game, GFY Productions, Mass Effect Andromeda, which I've completed today, Mortal Kombat X, the Joe Rogan Experience, and the Witcher 3, which I've already done. Why is it still there? Who knows? So you'll be getting reviews on those as and when. I also have a bunch of other episodes written for Halcyon and Razor Review, which, to be honest, I will try and get recorded and set aside as soon as I have a chance to sort of set aside some time in my day where I can get motivated, understand exactly what I want to say and what I want to do, put it down and get it done. So that'll be coming slowly but surely. I'll be doing more content as well. I think I do want to do more wrestling-based content because I'm watching a lot of WWE again now. It's kind of like my comfort. When I'm not gaming, I tend to watch wrestling. It just tends to zen me out a little bit. So I might start doing reviews on stuff that I'm watching on the network and other things of that nature, along with obviously the podcasts and the reviews and stuff like that. So brace yourself for those. So on today's podcast, I want to kick off with an update in my personal life, because I view this podcast as me being able to kind of say and do whatever I want without it necessarily needing a format, but it should have a point. And the point on this occasion is something that I've touched on maybe 2 or 3 times in the past, and I've even dedicated a whole episode reviewing an app for this point, and that's online dating. What do I want to talk about as far as online dating is concerned? Well, I want to talk about the male experience, because I think trying to understand the female experience is something I'll never really fully appreciate or understand, because it comes at it from a different viewpoint, and it's difficult to interpret and understand. So I'll talk about it from my own experiences. And the point I'm going to make is whether or not, and me even using it kind of undermines my own point I'm about to make here, are online dating sites detrimental to the long-term mental health, mental stability, and stability of relationships within society? Why do I bring this up? Well, recently I've hopped back on, basically because it's the only way that I can meet new people, period. Specifically to start up relationships and things of that nature, but still it's what people tend to do these days. Now, I struggle on these sites, and I've sort of documented this in the past, and the reason being is because these days it's such a dehumanizing experience. It's so hard on the confidence to give you an idea. Probably going to reveal too much here, ladies and gentlemen, so brace yourselves for this. And in fact, you know what? Take this as an opportunity to make yourselves feel better about, especially if you're in a relationship. Take this statistic to make yourself feel better about yourselves. So here we go. On just one app, just one, I have sent 379 messages. 379, that sounds like a lot. Well, considering that I have only had 8 responses, 8 means I'm operating at a 3% efficiency. Effectively, for every 100 messages I send, I get 3 messages back. Think about that for a second. Now, obviously, it's not actually that big of a deal when you break it down, because those are all people you would have never met anyway. These are people with varying degrees on life, looking for different things. They might not find you physically attractive. They might have someone else they're already talking to. Tons of reasons, okay. And unfortunately, online dating is boiled down to that these days. It's a numbers game. You just try and jostle your way to the front of the queue by bombarding people with messages. Now, the flip side to this, and I've discussed this with many girls that I've spoken to on Path, and indeed some of my friends, it's an overwhelming thing for girls sometimes. Literally just to turn on your phone and to have 100, 200, 300,000 messages to have to sift through from various guys, all from different viewpoints, all with different agendas, and it's hard for them, I understand that. But the reason why I want to talk about it from the male experience is because it's such a hard thing to have to process, because it's a level of rejection you don't get in normal life. Now, yes, would I have the courage to walk up to a random girl and actually ask her out? Probably not. It's the days of me going up to a girl and saying, "Hi, my name's Lorne. I saw you across the way, and I felt compelled to come and introduce myself to you. I wondered if I could ask you your name and how you're doing today." I'm almost 100% certain if I wasn't maced 3 words into the second sentence, I'd be surprised by that. Because to be perfectly honest with you, if a girl walked up to me and did that, I'd be looking behind me to see if anyone was about to mug me by hitting me over the head and stealing my wallet. Because it's just something that never happens. But why is that? Well, I think a lot of us chalk it down to the confidence thing, i.e. we don't like the idea of being rejected, and we certainly don't like it in a public sphere, which is fine. But then when you take it out of the public sphere and you have to deal with it internally, i.e. in the comfort of your own home, when you suddenly, right, okay, the social element of rejection is gone, I can send messages to myself, okay, fine. I get that safety net is there now for you mentally. But then you also have to balance the fact that you have to look at this cascade of gorgeous, intelligent, witty, beautiful women who have zero interest in you, and it's the most bastardizing thing in the world. I don't know how many people who listen to my podcast or watch my show have tried online dating or are single and are trying to find that special someone. But you may have different ways of going about it. But I've obviously contemplated this a lot, and the reason why I do it is because, again, unfortunately, I've just come to accept the fact that it's a numbers game. You're just going to have to play the numbers. You're going to have to be patient. You're going to have to wade through a lot of crap and a lot of bullshit, and you're going to have to speak to a lot of people you don't even want to speak to. And that's something I shouldn't discard at this point. Of the 8 messages I've had back, only one I'm interested in talking to, and even then, I'm pretty sure we're just going to be friends. Because sweet person, not the kind of person that I would date, though. Unfortunately, it just is what it is. So maybe I'm just as much of a part of the problem as possible as well. I don't know. But the point I wanted to raise is that from a male perspective, it's a very, very disheartening experience. And from the perspective of a guy who otherwise is I'm more than willing to admit I'm a beta male in almost every aspect, with the exception of my temper. My temper is very much out for. I'll get in anyone's fucking face if you piss me off. I try to avoid conflict as much as I can, but then when you cross that line, it's what? And then I see red, and that's that. So from a beta's perspective, and not wanting to be flashy and be extroverted and be dick swinging, and yeah, I've got all the money, and look at my fucking arms, and yeah, bruh, beer and lads and blokey bloke stuff. I just want to be me. I just want to be the goof. I want to be the intellectual. I want to care. I want to be affectionate. I want to be vulnerable. That doesn't play out well in the online dating world, and that's sad because, again, the prevailing thing I get from most girls is that they're sick of the kind of guy, and maybe this is just a line. You never know. But maybe a lot of these girls say that they would want a guy who's slightly more caring, a little bit less self-obsessed, a little bit less blokey. And I think that online dating only serves to accentuate the negative stereotypes within both genders, because you have to look at girls on POF and wonder, right, okay, if the Me Too movement saw this, and I'm bringing them into this equation, how would they feel about the way that girls are objectifying themselves? This is the thing. I think people overlook this a lot on dating websites, is that I don't make girls take the pictures that they do. I certainly don't make guys take the pictures they do either, but in my defense, I don't look at a lot of guys' profiles. I say a lot, you got to check out the competition from time to time. But point is, girls do objectify themselves. And that makes me sad too, because it's the reason why I don't have any interest in some of the girls that I talk to on there, because I wouldn't want to date a girl who is only out for the who's only wanting me to objectify myself and herself. I'd want to embrace the personality and the person and the character behind the images and the facade and the profile and the demeanor and the persona that comes from, oh, I'm a strong and self-sufficient person. Well, if you're a strong and self-sufficient person, what the fuck are you on here for then? Let me be blunt here. Let me cut a promo on people on dating websites. There's only 3 types of people that go on a dating website, really. And I mean this really. There's the kind of person that has no intention of dating anyone beyond fucking the occasional person, but needs it for their own sense of self-esteem and self-worth. There's the person like me, who doesn't get the chance to meet people in real life, has a degree of confidence, but wouldn't ever put themselves out there to that degree unless I was 100% certain, and I'm never 100% certain that a girl likes me. And a third one is just an instigator. Someone that goes on dating websites to troll and to be obscene. It offers girls money for sex or asks for pictures of their feet and stuff like that. Those are the only 3 people that frequent dating websites. And I don't think, even though I fit into one of those categories, any one of them is a good thing. So I'm questioning whether or not dating websites are a good thing in general. Now, the reason why I bring this up is because I think we need to be clever about the way that we can introduce people to other people in an age of social media. It's more and more enticing these days to sit at home on your PC behind a veil of protection than socialise and be open to the prospect of meeting someone that isn't in a fucking nightclub. Because I've got no interest in going there either, because again, the alternative to that is you get drunk and ask out a bunch of girls and see if they want to dance, and then maybe you pull one of them. Again, never happened to me because I've never been that drunk and I've never been that successful. I do remember one night I asked 3 girls out within the space of 3 minutes, and all 3 of them said no to varying degrees, which I look back on and laugh at because I literally just did it for the lols. I literally just did it because, do you know what, I've never asked a girl out in a club? Let's see how this goes. Ask 1 out, ask 2 out, ask 3 out. I can't blame any one of them for saying no because I was pissed off my face and it was a bad idea to start with, and my friends all laughed at me at the same time, having stolen my drinks, which I paid for. I won't name his name, but the guy whose idea it is for me to go and ask the girls literally necked half a goddamn picture of WKD while I was faffing about, and he turned around and said, yeah, I kind of knew you wouldn't go anywhere, but thanks for the drink in the meantime. You know who you are, and I will make you pay one of these days. Trust me on this. Anyway, long-winded rant / promo aside, the point I wanted to make from this is, single people of the world, I ask you to heed my words, okay? I'm going, and I make this vow, to try and ease myself off of these sites in the weeks to come. Why? Because I don't think it's healthy. I don't think it's good for me. I don't think it benefits me long term. I've had a bunch of relationships with online dating. None of them have lasted longer than a year. None of them. Why? Because they weren't hard to obtain. All good relationships start with a quirk. All good relationships have trials and tribulations and make you stop and make you think about things. All good relationships do that. Online never has that. You're setting yourself up to look for the ideal person, and news, they don't exist. The ideal perfect person is not there to be found. There is a person out there that will make you happy, maybe even a bunch of people, but they are not your tailor-made perfect idea. It's the reason why when you see someone and fall in love at first sight, it's usually something you don't see coming. It's like being knocked out. It's the punch you don't see that knocks you out rather than the one you see coming and the one you prepare for. So I'm going to try and phase it out, but to the single people of the world, have faith, rejoice, because there is someone out there for you. There is. I'm in no doubt. It just takes time and patience and a willingness to be vulnerable. And in a day and age where social media promotes a sense of being a victim and not being vulnerable for the sake of being vulnerable when you choose to be vulnerable, being able to protect yourself and not yield to the unworldly belief that being rejected by one person in front of perhaps 10, 15 other people that you'll never see again is the worst thing that could happen. Really isn't. There's cancer. Cancer's much worse than that. Much, much worse. Anthrax is a terrible, terrible thing. Rejection's got nothing on anthrax. So just think about that next time you're in a quandary with regards to your love life. And you can thank Uncle Lorne later. So, initial rant aside, other things I wanted to talk about in this podcast. As far as WWE, let's talk about some WWE, because I haven't talked about that in my last couple of podcasts. Greatest Royal Rumble. I really enjoyed it. I know it's getting some heat because a lot of people are referring to it as non-canon, but it happened and I saw it, so pretty sure it's canon. As far as any upcoming pay-per-views and things like that, I will get into it more and more. I've been watching a lot of the WWE Network's coverage on other things, to be honest. I've just tweeted about Table for Threes. Been blasting through those. I might do a review on the series of them, the scope of them, and each individual set of shows rather than individual ones, because I think that there's too many to cover, and I think I can make a generalization on the type of show that it is based on at least 6 or 7 episodes and make a couple of recommendations. But I like the Table for Three. Obviously the Monday Night Wars, I'm really eager to talk about that because of the inconsistencies in the narrative. I'm salivating at pointing out all the things they fucked up there. It's going to be great. I will also try and get back to talking about the pay-per-views as and when they happen. I haven't seen Payback yet. Why? Sorry, I haven't seen Backlash, because I heard it was a steaming pile of shit, so I won't, or it was Payback. It might have been Payback, actually, it was a steaming pile of shit. Backlash was okay, Payback wasn't. And I'll get round to reviewing the pay-per-views as well. Obviously, sporting-wise, Arsene Wenger has now finished as Arsenal manager. It's a shame, he went out for a win, which is great. Mikel Arteta is now the front-runner to be hired as Arsenal manager, which is great news for Arsenal fans, because it's the stopgap. Let's all be honest. He'll get a 2 or 3 year contract. He'll see out the first season, maybe even the second, but then he'll get the sack because he ain't winning nothing with the squad that he's got there, and he's not charismatic enough to get in any decent signings over the next 2 years. He's enough to get over the philosophy of Wenger, let Wenger find another job elsewhere, and let some of the players move on, have the next coach have a chance to form his own squad. So from an Arsenal perspective, it's an uncertain time, but it's a time to be optimistic. As far as boxing is concerned, nothing really going on at the moment apart from buzz around Lomachenko, who's apparently lighting up the boxing world. He's a gentleman who I'm not overly familiar with, other than he's a bit of a beast in terms of his footwork. He's probably going to be pushed as the next big thing, but of course with boxing, the names that are still out there are Golovkin and Canelo Alvarez, who will fight down the line. It's just whether or not Canelo Alvarez, stops with his Mexican meat, which no one's buying that excuse anytime soon. And as far as gaming, which is the main reason why most of you come to my channel, I will be doing a proper review on Mass Effect Andromeda now that I've completed it. There's a blink on it, which you'll get very, very soon. I do want to talk about Andromeda though, because I've just switched from Andromeda to Titanfall 2. It's amazing what a broken mess Andromeda is. It's hard for me to describe. Just jumping from one to the other, the slickness of the gameplay of Titanfall 2, for instance, it feels smooth, it feels crisp, it feels clean, but it doesn't feel overwhelming. Mass Effect Andromeda, it feels just so disjointed and so painful. Just everything, the load times and the graphics choices and some of the pop-in is absolutely awful. Now, I don't like judging a game based on that, but it gives you, it's a quality of finish that just lacks. And given the scope, and now I've finished it, and this is spoilerish, I'll apologise in advance. If you've not played the game, my bad. It just ends. It just ends. You get like a bullshit nearly payoff in the middle, where you get to, so long story short, you're the Pathfinder, whatever the fuck that is, you find planets that are habitable. Just so happens the planets that you're visiting have this thing already on them that terraforms planets. Well, that's handy, isn't it? They're all controlled by a main thing called Meridian. You get to the first thing you think is Meridian, it turns out it isn't. It's a spire that the Meridian created, and they've got to find the Meridian. It turns out the Meridian's a planet, and the Meridian can activate a bunch of other planets and make them habitable, and yay, we all live happily ever after. Now, I have a few problems with this. Number one, design choices. The Remnant designs are stealing Terminator and Robocop designs. They're also stealing Matrix designs. The Sentinel style things. They just straight out of the Matrix. The builders or the observers or whatever they're called. Et 209s. Come on now. The Ket, a really shitty version of the Collectors. Let's all be honest with ourselves now. That's really what they are. The twists you see coming a mile away. The fact that, so we're nearly here. Yeah, I know, I can't believe we're really nearly here after all this time. Seems really, really easy. Yeah, I know, but we've deserved it at this point. Oh my god, now we've been betrayed. Come on now. We all know it wasn't going to be that easy. We knew someone was going to get dicked over and all the rest of it. The problem is, they're following Mass Effect's tropes. And the problem with that is that Mass Effect didn't have tropes when it first started. The first Mass Effect felt different to the second. The second felt different to the third. But they all felt like cohesive, well-paced stories. All the characters had depth and a realness to them, and a sense of independence and uniqueness that was just so wonderful to behold and play. This game, even though it has all the same tropes, it loses some of that soul. It's the only way I can put it. It lacks soul. It really does. The characters of Drac and Vitra and PB and Liam and I'm even struck Cora. There it is. They're just all the ingredients were there. Everything they needed to make a successful Mass Effect game was there. The idea of exploration, the style design, but they just fuck everything they could possibly conceive. They fucked up everything. So I'm probably going to revise my score from the Blink episode to the Halcyon that I'll do on Andromeda, and it'll be probably the first negative review I ever give of a game on Halcyon. Every game on Halcyon I've given a positive review for, at least a 6 or over. I think FIFA's probably the lowest rated I've ever given, and that's a 7 or a 6. I can't remember offhand. I'm really going to struggle giving this anything over a 3 or a 4. It doesn't really have any redeeming qualities, I'm afraid to say. So I hope you guys enjoy that when I do it, because I'll finally be able to cut loose and cut promos and really go mental on it. I hope you enjoy the content that I start producing on a more regular basis now that I'm hopefully back up and running properly. If anyone has any suggestions or requests or anything for videos that you'd like me to see in the future, please let's send them my way. I will try and get more active on social media as well, replying to messages and things of that nature, because I appreciate people watching, but I also appreciate people getting involved and letting me know what they're thinking. So to bring this podcast to a close, just summarize very quickly, as far as online dating is concerned, if you want to do it, fair enough, but I would just advocate that you take a chance. If there's someone special in your life, hey, focus on them and see what you can do. You never know if you put in a bit of effort and you put yourself out there a little bit. As far as football is concerned, way the Gunners. As far as wrestling is concerned, boo Roman Reigns. And as far as gaming is concerned, EA, please go fist yourselves. Stop ruining my games. Start making good games. Or better yet, sell the licenses onto someone else who'll make good games. But at the end of the day, just go fist yourselves anyway. Please, I'm begging you. So thank you very much for listening to this episode of the Halcyon Podcast. Please like, share, subscribe. Also check out some of the other content creators in the description below. They're producing great content, interacting with them a lot, and trying to promote their material. As always, I hope you're taking care of yourselves. I hope you're checking out some of my other videos, sharing them if you wouldn't mind as well. That'd be ace. So I hope to see you on the next episode. In the meantime, take care. I've been your host, Lorne Rising.